next speaker, he is one of the top 200 financial advisors, and also the biggest thing is he is the founder of thesecrettosuccess.com, a fantastic website. If you've not been to it, please do so. And he's also one of the top 40 under 40 business owners, San Antonio Business Journal's financial planning expert of San Antonio, and News 4 WOAI. And let's turn it over to Jerry McGilvrey.
How many times do you get to make a first impression? One time to make a first impression. And each one of us tonight has talked about the attention spans. 2 psychologists at Princeton University discovered that our frontal cortex, our subconscious mind, begins making an opinion about someone we meet in 1/10 of a second. I started doing some research on this because I was trying to figure out how that could possibly be true. 1/10 of a second to form an opinion about someone. And it came down to 3 factors. The first factor was demeanor. The second factor was posture. And the third was appearance. With appearance being the overwhelming majority of how we begin to form opinions about people. You know how they say, you can't judge a book by the cover? Well, that sounds good, but it actually isn't true. You know what I like to tell people? Each one of you have a book inside. Each one of you have great, fantastic, amazing ideas and information. Make the cover attractive enough that people will want to crack it open and read it. Because so many people have so much value, but nobody reads the book. Because we live in a society where people judge books by the cover. And sticking with the metaphor of judging a book by the cover, it took me a while to do some research on this, but there's several actual books that all they did was change the cover to become bestsellers. 3 examples are True Colors. Didn't sell more than 2 books a day. Changed the cover, not the content. Sold dozens and dozens per day. Another book, The Picture Kills. Didn't sell hardly any books, changed the cover, became a bestseller. One more. Better Than the Real Thing. This book right here, changed the cover, became a New York Times bestseller. What's my point? My point is, we need to make the cover of our books as attractive as possible. And I don't mean by appearance. I mean our overall lifestyles. Everything about us. And if you think your first impression is when you meet somebody, you're wrong. There's a lot of other impressions out there, and Marissa talked about that, with us not having a private life any longer. There's some science taking place here. And it's called the sensational transreference effect. And it's what this is. Our brains begin to associate feelings and emotions with the visuals that we see. Ice cream companies found that if they stopped putting ice cream in a square container and put it into a round jar, they could double their price. 7-Up did a taste testing. And not changing the ingredients in the 7-Up, but changing the color of the can, the participants tasted more citrus when it was more green, and they put a lemon on there. Our brains are programmed to function on what we see. One of my favorite experiments, I read about this years ago in one of Malcolm Gladwell's books. I believe it was Outliers. And this experiment was in a room like this, they served dinner rolls. And they put butter that was just on a table in its cubes, and then they put butter in foil. And they watched what people did. The majority of people preferred the butter in the foil. And there's actually a little more science to this to go back. Margarine first started when it came out in the 40s, was white. People didn't like white margarine. So what did marketing companies do? They dyed it yellow, put foil around it, and it sold. Apple Computers spent more than $3 billion last year on packaging. That's it. If you've bought an Apple product, you'll know it's beautiful when it comes into the box. I talked about posture a little bit for our frontal cortex when it's making these decisions. And this is where text messaging can kind of hurt us these days. Because the majority, more than 90% of how we communicate has absolutely nothing to do with the words. 55% body language, more than 30% tone, and then it's a mere 7% in what we actually say. What Peter said about the words we use. There's a great example that Disney World has. When someone asks what time they close, you know what they're taught to say? The park is open until 9. They don't say it closes at 9. It's all in how you say it. And so when you're presenting yourself, stand up. Be proud of what you have to bring. And I see this at networking events. People will fold their arms, they may even look down, and they're miserable to promote their company. Get a new job. Life is short. Each one of us have said, everybody is not your customer. We can't please everybody. Go niche or go broke, and niche to get rich. Seth Godin, one of my favorite authors, and probably the most popular blogger on the planet. He constantly pontificates about not everybody is your customer, and the reason why Seth teaches this, if you'll notice I have marketing written perpendicular, vertically instead of horizontal. Get deep in your markets, not wide. Because none of us can afford, not Apple, not Costco, not AT&T can afford to advertise to everybody. And we have to promote our products. Get deep in the company that you're going to be producing or promoting to. And this goes with the people out here that attend networking events. Don't every now and again go to 5 or 6. Pick 2 or 3 and become a part. Because we all know the factors. People have to know you, they have to like you, and they need to trust you. I want to go over some do's and don'ts. Some do's. Do speak with confidence. The number one thing, and I promise you, the number one thing everybody is looking for is you believe in yourself. Excitement and enthusiasm is what we were able to provide to get this many like-minded people in this room. We're excited about this, and we hope that it will continue. Make eye contact with your audience. I was talking to someone the other day, and I thought I was saying something important. And they looked down at their phone, and they started doing something else. So apparently it wasn't very important. Make eye contact with your people. Smile. I think this is a common theme. Dress to impress. And there's a lot of avenues and a lot of ways you can buy inexpensive clothing and look sharp. And it's not just the dress, it's how it fits, it's how you wear it. You stand up tall, you believe in yourself that way. I like to go to networking events and watch it go around the room. And I love body language. The closer it gets to the person that's about to stand up and deliver their pitch or promotion, the jitters go. The tapping, the nervous twitches, the term choke, and I think that we hear this all too often on football. Coaches would call next game's timeouts if they could. Because what they're trying to do is they're trying to get into the player's mind. Choking, scientifically, is a lack of oxygen to the brain. So take some deep breaths before you're about to stand up and promote yourself. And practice. Practice, practice. And notice I put on there, don't practice until you get it right. Practice until you can't get it wrong. That's where success takes place. Some don'ts. Don't ramble. Don't say and. Don't keep going. I went to a networking event. We had 60 seconds. The guy talked about every car on his car lot nearly, and I could see the people in dismay all around me. Be respectful. Be concise. We talked about this. It's a pet peeve. Don't cross your arms. Stand up. When you say or it means that you're trying to figure out what you're going to say and what you want to promote. If you believe in your product, if you believe in what you're doing, you'll tell it like a story. This is a big one to me. There's 7 billion people on this planet. We don't all know who you are. Don't assume people know who you are and what you do. Tell people, deliver it each and every time. And each one of us have said this. This goes, remember, visualize, pictures, leave imprints in our brain. Marketing was vertical. Not every single person is your customer, and that's okay. The way you're judged if you gave a good pitch or not, the way you're judged if you did it right, is if you hear these 3 magical words. Tell me more. Thank you.